Okay, good to go. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start. We're going to go through accessing your email first, and then we'll go into Blackboard. So the main things that you need to know about your email accounts is that your email, student email and password combination is going to be your login for your, not only your email, but for your Blackboard, library databases, student portal, basically anything that has to do with Kaiser or is through Kaiser, you're going to be using that email and password combination. So you want to make sure that you have access to it, that you don't, lose the login information, things like that. Your password does expire every 60 days. So once it starts being a couple of months since you've been here, you might want to go in and reset your password before it expires. If it does expire and if you do get locked out of your account, we'll go over how to reset your password and also what to do if it won't let you on your own reset your password, because sometimes that happens if it's the first time you've tried. So yeah, we'll go over what to do in that case. Every time you start a new class at Kaiser, you're going to be doing 3 tasks. You're going to do your course pretest, and that's not pass or fail. It's just to see where you are as far as what you already know in the subject. There's a course certification, and then introduction discussion board post. Sometimes those are done through Blackboard, and I'll show you where to find those. If you're taking an online class, it's always going to be on Blackboard. If you're taking an on-ground class, if it's not on Blackboard, then you'll be doing it in the classroom on the first day. So if you're taking a class on ground and you can't find the pretest and whatnot in your Blackboard, don't panic. You'll be doing it in the classroom in that case. Your class is available to you the Sunday evening before the new starts, so you'll have access to your classes this upcoming Sunday sometime in the evening, maybe after 8 o'clock. I'm not really sure of the specifics, but once you have access to your class, you definitely want to go in there, check out your syllabus, kind of familiarize yourself with the layout, look over the coursework for the first week, but don't try to complete any assignments, and definitely don't complete the pretest, certification and discussion board posts, because they won't count. The semester, or sorry, the term doesn't technically start until Monday. So anything done in Blackboard prior to that is not going to count. So definitely go through and sort of familiarize yourself with your class, but don't complete any assignments until Monday. So to access all Kaiser accounts, you're going to go to kaiseruniversity.edu. And there is a menu along the top where you'll see all of these areas. And then under students, you're going to have a drop down menu. And this gives you a link to everything that you need to log into. So there's a link to the your email, Blackboard, student services. The library is over here under this tab as well. The online writing studio, if you're, once you are in a graduate program, or if you are in a graduate program, that'll link to that writing studio and so on. So everything that you need is on kaiseruniversity.edu. I definitely recommend bookmarking the website. If you're able to do so now during the orientation, all you have to do is hit Control-D and it'll bookmark that website. And that way you don't have to spend a lot of time trying to figure out where to go to log in. It'll all be right there. Sorry. So once you access your email, you're going to log in with your student email address, which is usually your first initial last name at kaiseruniversity.edu. And then you're going to use your password, which is set default set to your student ID number. Both of those things should be on your schedule, which you got from your admissions counselor. If you don't have them, let me know. You can let me know in the chat, and I can send that to you. But it should be on the schedule that you got from your counselor. You'll also, once you get your picture ID, the student ID password or student ID number will be on there as well. So you'll have access to it and whatnot. So basically you have access to that information, you know, all the time, but you want to make sure that you keep it somewhere safe until you have familiarized yourself with it. When you click on the student email tab, it's going to bring you to a sign-in screen, and that's where you're going to put your full email address. So that's, again, your first initial dot last name. Sometimes there's a number after your name, and it's always going to be at student.kaiseruniversity.edu. You definitely have to include the at student.kaiseruniversity.edu part as opposed to just the beginning. If you do just the beginning, it'll tell you that it's the username does not exist. And students make that mistake a lot. So make sure that you're always putting in the full email address as the username. The next screen it's going to take you to is entering your student ID number as your password. Now, this is one of the options that you have to reset your password if you get locked out of your account. Underneath the password box, it gives you a link that says click here to reset. If you click on that, it's going to bring you to the verification screen where I believe they send you a code to your cell phone. And then once you enter that code, then you just create a new password. So it'll give you the directions, you know, step by step once you click on the reset link. So that's one option of getting back into your account if your password expires, or if you, you know, get locked out, you know, for any other reason. If you change your password from your student ID and you forget what it is, you can reset it from there as well. If you get an error when you're trying to reset your password, because sometimes, again, like I said, the first time you try to change it, if you're a new student, sometimes it'll tell you that you need an administrator to do it, in which case you would have to email the help desk and they'll reset it back to your student ID number. The email address for the help desk is right down here, just helpdesk@Kaiser University. And you're going to include your student ID number in the email so that they can look you up faster and resolve your issue more quickly. So once you log into your email, this is going to be your welcome screen, and you'll have along the side here all of these Office 365 apps. These are the online versions of the apps, so they're definitely convenient, but they don't have the full compatibility or the full functionality of the programs that you download. As a Kaiser student, you have access to the full programs for as long as you are a student. So once you are logged in on your computer, if you click this Install Office button on the upper right-hand corner, it'll download Office 365 to your computer, and then from there, it'll guide you through the installation, you know, instructions specific to your system. And then you'll have the full functionality of Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and so on. Outlook is going to be your email application. So once you get to this screen, just click on the Outlook folder, and that's going to go ahead and take you to your inbox. And then you have your inbox where you've got all of your, you know, information and incoming mail. Anything that you get from Kaiser University is going to be sent to your student email address. So whether it's financial aid, whether it's announcements from your instructor, just general announcements about things going on around campus, that kind of thing, it's always going to go to your Kaiser email. So make sure to check your email at least once a day so that you don't miss anything important. If you can't access your email, again, if you lose your password or it expires or whatever the case may be, don't establish communication with your instructors from your personal email. And by that, what I mean is you don't want to get into the habit of continuing to email them from your personal email. If you need to reach out and let them know that you're locked out of your student account, like obviously that's fine. But you don't want to get in the habit of using your personal email, because then you get out of the habit of checking your Kaiser email. You tend to lose things, or miss things. It's harder to go in there and reset your password. A lot of students won't remember how because they haven't used the system in such a long time. So definitely make sure that you're consistently emailing your instructors from your student email address, and that you're logging in and checking your your email at least once a day so that you don't miss anything. And then you also just want to make sure that you're always logged in under the correct account. Up in the upper right hand corner, you would see your initials here. And if you click on that, it'll show you what email address you're signed up under. And the reason I mention that is because we've had students who are logging into Office 365 with personal email addresses and not realizing it. And then once they're in there, they try to reset their password, but it still won't work for Blackboard. They can't figure out what's going on, and it turns out they're not in the right account. So make sure that you're logged into your student account whenever you're in Office 365 doing stuff for Kaiser. Okay, so any questions on your email, by the way? You can pause for a second, take a look at the chat. Okay. So the next thing we're going to talk about is the student portal. And the student portal is where you're going to go to access all of your documentation. So your schedule, your financial aid information, degree audit, GPA, calculator. Once you've got a few classes under your belt, you can go there to check your grades from previous classes. Basically anything that has to do with documentation for your enrollment is going to be in the student portal. So under the students drop-down menu on kaiseruniversity.edu, you would select student portal. And again, you're going to log in with your Kaiser student email address as the username and your student ID number as the password. And once you log in, you'll see a screen. It's bigger than this, but this is the main part of the screen where you have these blue boxes. And you'll see one here that says My Schedule. So that's where you would go to get a copy of your schedule as a PDF. And that's the exact copy that your admissions counselor gave you when you registered. And if you want to have an electronic copy to keep on your phone or your tablet, or you want to, print out an extra one at home to keep by your study space, whatever you want to do with that, you have access to it through the student portal. So once you click on My Schedule, it's going to bring you to this page where you would click on Schedule Report. It'll download to the bottom of the screen there as a PDF, and then from there you can open it, print it, email it to yourself, whatever you want to do with it. And then along the left-hand side here, this gives you the links to everything else that you need as far as documentation goes. So you have grades, degree audit, your financial aid information. If you have any balance or anything like that with the bursar, you can check that there as well. My finances, loan information, and so on. So everything that you need to know is going to be in your student portal. Okay, so let's go ahead and go into Blackboard. So to go into Blackboard, you're going to go to kaiseruniversity.edu, click on Blackboard under the students drop-down menu. That's going to open a new page, and it's going to look like the same page that you were just on. But what you have to do is scroll down a little bit, and then you'll see Kaiser University Blackboard login. And if you click on that, it's going to bring you to the login screen. And it might be easiest the first time that you access Blackboard this way, once you get to the Blackboard login screen, to go ahead and bookmark that as well, so that you don't have to go through the extra steps here for Blackboard. So that's definitely a good idea if you are comfortable with bookmarking and want easy access. So once you click on the login link, it's going to bring you to your login screen. Again, you'll type your full student email address. So first initial about last name at student.kaiseruniversity, and then your password. You're going to go ahead and enter after that, and then you're going to log in. It's going to bring you to your home page, which has just general information and announcements from Kaiser and things like that. And then in the upper right-hand corner, you'll see a link that says My Courses. So that's where you're going to click to get to your class, and it's going to bring up your course listing, as you see right here. So again, if you're logging into Blackboard prior to Sunday, you're not going to see the class that you're registered for the term. You will see the Kaiser Writing Studio OWL. I believe you also have access to the Math Help Center, the Math Lab, and the Student Orientation course. These are just extra resources. There's nothing in those courses that you're required to do, but they're really helpful resources as far as, for example, the Writing Studio, which is what I manage as part of, being the Writing Studio coordinator. If you need to submit a paper online, if you need help with APA citations and formatting, spelling and grammar, all that kind of stuff, there's tons of resources in there. If you're taking a math class and you need help with that, if you want to schedule tutoring or go in and look at some of the review materials and resources that they have, that's an excellent resource as well. And then the student orientation course is a course that you're automatically enrolled into as a beginner course. So you can go in there, you can make practice posts on the discussion boards and things like that. You can click around and sort of familiarize yourself with the layout of Blackboard before you have access to your class. I think there's also like videos and things like that that kind of get in depth on, some of the features in Blackboard. So that's something, that you might want to look into as well to familiarize yourself with the platform prior to Monday. Once you click on your class, it's going to bring up a screen like this, where along the left-hand side, you have what's called course modules. And a module is basically just a folder that has all of the material for that area in it. When you click on the module, the information in that module will open up on this main page here. Your home page is always going to have any announcements from your instructor, needs attention, things like that. And then up here, you can see what class you're under because it'll show you. So if you're taking two classes, for example, it'll show you whether you're logged into your science class or your computers class or whatever the case may be. So all of the courses that you'll take will always have some of these sort of housekeeping modules along the side here. Meet the instructor is going to be your instructor's, their name, their contact information, office hours, some information about them, basically, whatever they want to share with you. So that's a great place to go to see who your instructor is going to be and how to get in contact with them. Your course syllabus, that is going to be where you find your course policies, such as like policies on late work, policies on if you have to miss class, things like that. You're also going to have the breakdown of your grading percentages. So it'll tell you if your exams are worth 20%, homework is worth 10%, whatever the case may be. You also have your course objectives, general Kaiser policies. There's usually an overview of activities, so it'll kind of give you an overview of what you can expect to be doing each week in the class and things like that. It's extremely important to read the syllabus as soon as possible because of all the information that's in there that you need to know. So that's a great thing that you can do on Sunday evening when you get access to your class, is to go in and read the syllabus prior to Monday's first meeting time. And that way you'll familiarize yourself sort of with what the class expectations are and what the outlook is, for your 4 weeks in the course. Kaiser Live is where you're going to go if you have any online sessions. If you're taking an online class, all of your meetings will be on Kaiser Live. If you're taking an on-ground class, I believe your instructors will be recording the class on ground, or if something happens where the campus has to close, whatever the case may be, then you can watch the Kaiser Live of the class as opposed to meeting in person if that's necessary. But basically it works the same way as Zoom does, where once you click into it, it's going to bring you to your main screen where you have your instructor sharing their like PowerPoints and things like that. And then you have a chat feature. You can share materials if you have those permissions, things like that. So it basically functions the same way as Zoom or Microsoft Teams, if you're familiar with that. And each session is recorded, so you can go back and view them later as needed. And then your discussion board is similar to an internet message board where you can create threads and reply to your classmates. All of your classes are going to be incorporating the discussion board in some form or another. Even if it's like chemistry or something like that, they'll usually give you discussion questions regarding the material that you may be going over that week. So you want to familiarize yourself with how to post on the discussion board. And your introduction post is kind of like your practice post because there's nothing, it's not, you know, for a grade or anything like that, just participation. And it'll allow you to create your own thread, reply to anyone who replies to you and whatnot. So you can kind of get familiar with that prior to actually doing an assignment. Some of these other modules might change depending on what class you're in. This is an English class course shell, so it's got links to the library, writing help, things like that. If you're in a math class, there might be a link to the math lab and math resources. If you're in a science class, you know, there might be a link here to some extra science help that you might need, that kind of thing. So some of these modules might not be the same from class to class, but the ones that will be the same are always going to be your Meet the Instructor, your syllabus, your Kaiser Live, and your discussion board. Any questions so far? Okay. So underneath the housekeeping modules, you've got your weeks modules for each week that you're in the course. Getting started usually has just general information about what you can expect from the course, frequently asked questions, things like that. If you're taking an online class or if your instructor has put the pretest online and you're in an on-ground class, this is where you would find it under this getting started module. And this is what it would look like. So you would just, you know, click on it, begin the test and just click your way, you know, through each question. So basically, that's what it's going to look like if you have access to that in your Blackboard. Again, if you don't see this anywhere in your Blackboard and you're taking an online class, an on-ground class, that just means that your instructor has not provided it through Blackboard and you're going to be doing these activities on the first day that you meet in the classroom. And this is something that you'll do at the start of every new class. Basically, you know, just to see where you are and acknowledge that you're aware of the course policies and things like that. So that's an expectation, you know, that you want to make sure that you meet. And again, just make sure that you don't do it on Sunday because it won't count. Make sure that you do it on Monday. Okay, so the way that the classes are structured at Kaiser for the most part is that they're 4 weeks long, and each week is self-contained in a module in Blackboard, so that all you have to do is go into that week's module and everything that you're going to be doing for that week is going to be listed right there. So over here on the left-hand side of the screen, you can see an example of what sort of things are included in the week 1 module. So this, again, this is an English class, so it's got reading assignments, refresher slides, PowerPoint presentations. A lot of your instructors will provide you with the PowerPoint presentations that they use in class. And that'll be found in your week 1, you know, or whatever week you're in that module. You have your objectives, which is basically here's what our goals are, you know, to learn this skill or that skill, and so on. Your learning activities are, you know, your assignments, any extra resources. A lot of times an instructor will post like, you know, any supplemental materials for the assignments. Like if you have to watch a video, you know, they'll post that there. If they have a a reading for you that's in PDF format. They'll upload that into the week 1 module. So basically everything that you need outside of like your actual textbook or any supplemental like labs or anything like that is always going to be right in that week's folder. Once you go through that week and you finish all of your assignments and the next week starts, then you're going to go into your week 2 module and do the same thing. You don't have to go back to week 1 after week 1 has ended. You don't have to jump forward to you know, weeks 3 and 4 before you get there. So it's very self-contained in each module. You're always just going to go right to that week and find everything that you need right in there. And then underneath that, you have your grades. Your grade book is going to obviously display all of your grades for your assignments that you turn in. It also keeps a running weighted total for your overall course grade. So for example, if you finish an assignment and it's a test, so it's worth 20%, when your teacher puts that grade in there, the 20% that it's worth will factor into your overall grade. And it'll show you, you know, if you are, you know, remaining at an A, or if you were at a B, maybe you've increased to an A, that sort of thing. So you should always know where you stand in your class, both with the assignments individually and as your overall grade, whether you've got an A, B, C, and so on. You should always know that by checking your grade book. And this is a great way to just keep on top of how you're performing in the class, because if you notice that you start to fall behind, or you might not be getting quite the grades that you are aiming to get, you know, you can reach out to your instructor. You can reach out to the resources that we have here on campus, like the writing studio or the math lab. You know, and take charge of your grades so that you can increase them to where you want to be if you're not meeting, you know, that goal. So being aware of where you stand in the class is super important. And you just want to make sure that you have, you know, easy access to your grade book so that you can check that and know where you are at all times. And that is basically it for Blackboard as far as navigation goes. And there's not a lot you can do in the course until Sunday, because you won't have access to your class until then. But you can go into the student orientation course and you'll be able to see all the things that I mentioned, like the discussion board. You can make a practice discussion post over the weekend if you want to do that. You can watch some videos, that sort of thing. So there's definitely a ton of resources out there within your, you know, your Blackboard that you have access to even prior to getting access to your class. Are there any questions on Blackboard or anything else that we've covered so far?
Can you set up mail forwarding in the email?
I believe you can. I'm not sure how to do it. And the only thing that you want to be aware of with that is that you have to reset your password through the Office 365 like page. Like if you need to use Blackboard or whatnot, you still have to go back to Office 365 to reset your password. So you just want to make sure that you're aware of that, you know, if you're not checking that actual inbox because you've got mail forwarding on.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions? Okay, so the last couple of things I'm going to go over are the kind of the technology basics. Oh, I'm sorry, the library databases, you have access to those. And this is just a very quick overview because we don't have a librarian, unfortunately, as part of this orientation. But if you go back to kaiseruniversity.edu and click on the library link under the current students tab, it's going to bring you to the Kaiser University library databases. And this is where you can go to get research for any papers that you're going to be writing. Most, if not all of your instructors will say for your paper that you're going to need peer-reviewed scholarly journal articles. And that means that the information has been verified, that it comes from, you know, an official source, that it's something that's accurate information. And you would find those in the databases. They have a ton of resources on basically every subject. There's a ton of different databases. So if you, one example is one database is called ProQuest. So you might go into the ProQuest database and look around, and you might not find anything in there. So then you decide to go to the Gale database. You have access to all of that through the library website. It does ask you to log in, and you're going to use your same login information for the library as well as that you use for everything else. Okay, so this is super small, so I'm going to pull up the actual PDF version on here. But this is basically a technology guide that summarizes everything that we went over this evening. Let me see where it is. Okay, so basically you've got just a summary of your account access, your email and Blackboard instructions, a screenshot of the main page. Resetting your password, these are your options. You know, click here to reset on that main page. Or if you're in Blackboard, and this is what I meant a few minutes ago when I said you have to go back to 365. If you're trying to log into Blackboard and your password's expired or whatever the case may be, it's going to give you a link to click back into Office 365 because you have to reset your password from there. You can't reset your password from Blackboard directly or Student Portal or anything else. It has to be through Office 365. So it gives you that information there, as well as the help desk email address. And then you've also got this reminder that your password expires every 60 days. This just mentions the first day tasks that you want to do your certification, your pretest and introduction posts as soon as possible on Monday, not Sunday. Portal and library databases and the writing studio. And then down here, just some contact info. This is the phone number for campus. This is the help desk email address again, and their phone number. And then at the top here, you have my information as well if you have any technical issues that you need help resolving. I'm going to send this document out as a PDF, so you'll get this in your email at some point tomorrow. You can print it out, you can save a copy on your phone, whatever you want to do with it. Just make sure that you have it somewhere, because if you have a question that comes up 2 weeks from now, chances are the answer will be you know, here somewhere. And I just wanted to go over a couple of these do's and don'ts. You don't want to call the help desk for a password reset because it's hard to get through to them on the phone. You might be waiting, you know, on hold for a long time, and you know, you just don't want to spend your time that way. When you send them an email to the email address that's listed, they'll automatically send you back a ticket with a ticket number on it, and it tells you the name of who is working on your issue as well. When they go in there and reset your password, they'll email you again and let you know that your password has been reset to your student ID number and that you can use it to log in. And from there, you know, change it if you want to, you know, or update it. But basically, you don't have to waste a lot of time like on hold or trying to get through to somebody for a password reset because it's such a simple process through email and much more convenient. So yeah, so try to make sure to email as opposed to calling. Also, it's not on here, but don't call Blackboard support either because they're even harder to get through, to get a hold of, because they're not directly like strictly just Kaiser. They're Blackboard for like everybody. So trying to get through to somebody is going to be super hard, and they might not even be able to help you if your issue is a Kaiser one. So if you need to reach out to somebody, it should be me first. You can email me or you can call me. From there, we might have to submit a help desk ticket, which I can help you with, or you can submit it on your own. And then if it has to escalate, higher, if it's, some involved technical issue, you'll cross that bridge when you get to it. But basically, just make sure that you're always reaching out to us here at Kaiser as opposed to Blackboard support in general. On that note, don't email your instructor from Blackboard. There's an option, I believe, to email them, but their response is not going to go to Blackboard. Their response is going to go to your Kaiser student email inbox. And it's been the case where students have said that they're not getting communication from their instructor. And it turns out they've been emailing from Blackboard and waiting for a response there and missing it in their student email inbox. So just to make it easier, you want to make sure to just email from Outlook because that's where your response is going to go anyway. If you're looking for kaiseruniversity.edu, don't just Google search Kaiser because it'll bring up a number of different websites. There's like a blog website. There's a website for, different programs and different campuses and things like that. So you can get kind of lost in the results. Just go directly to kaiseruniversity.edu and then just save that in your bookmarks. And again, I already talked about using your personal email address for communication. Make sure you're using your Kaiser account. And if you get locked out, contact me or reset your password as was discussed. Make sure that you communicate with your instructors. If you're having any issues or problems, communication is key because anytime there's an issue, whether it's you're in need of tutoring or some extra help, or if you've got personal things come up and like you can't make class that day or whatever the case may be, if your instructor knows about it, they will work with you and be flexible with you to make up for that. But if they don't know that there's an issue, they can't help you. So definitely make sure that you communicate with your instructors as much as possible and as soon as possible. Make sure that you utilize the resources that we have, the Writing Studio, library databases. Definitely reach out if you need help with anything. You can come into the Writing Studio in person. You can come in for tutoring. You can set that up as a one-time thing or as a weekly thing or whatever, the case may be. If you go into the librarian can help you navigate the databases because there's a lot of information in there and it's easy to kind of get lost and not really be able to find what you're looking for. So the librarians can help you with that. So definitely reach out, and definitely utilize all of the resources that are there for you to help you be successful. For the best results for compatibility, Chrome is the best browser to use, and then Google is the best search engine to use just in general. So those are just preferences. And then refer to your Strategies for Success guidebook. So we're going to be having a Strategies for Success workshop on next Tuesday. Information is going to go out to your email tomorrow. You'll get a copy of the guidebook in your email on Monday, and then the event is going to be on Tuesday evening via Zoom. So you don't have to come to campus for it. It'll be a Zoom event. And basically, that workshop is super helpful because we have our instructors going over some tips on like time management, creating a plan, a plan and a schedule for your time, tips on active reading and different note-taking strategies, different formats that you can use for taking notes. So whatever, is most useful for you. They discuss learning styles and identifying the kind of learner you are in order to, go about the best practices for studying and preparation that works with your learning style, things like that. So it'll be about 30 to 45 minutes on Tuesday evening. And again, you'll get the full information on that in your email tomorrow, the guidebook on Monday, and then the link for the Zoom on Tuesday. And that's going to be Tuesday evening at 6 o'clock. And I believe that's it as far as that goes. And we've gone through the everything with Blackboard and email. Does anyone have any other questions at all? Any questions? I kind of threw a lot of information at you, but this meeting was recorded, and the link for the video will go out again to your email probably around noon tomorrow. So you can always go back and you know, rewatch things if you need to. But yeah, any questions, any concerns, any issues?
The Blackboard task can be completed as soon as it turns Monday or a certain time on Monday?
That's actually a good question. I'm assuming that like after, you know, midnight, maybe wait until like 12:30 or something to be on the safe side, as long as it registers Monday's date. So yeah, you should be okay at like 12:30.
Great, thank you.
No problem. Any other questions? Does everyone have their student email address and password, student ID number and everything? If you don't, just indicate it in the chat. Otherwise, I'll assume that you do. Okay, well, thank you so much. We really appreciate you coming to the orientation so that you are prepared for Monday. If you have any questions that come up between now and Monday, feel free to reach out to me. My email address you should have in your inbox already, but I'll also be sending out some information to you so you'll have it. You'll get a PDF copy of this entire presentation that we just went through, as well as the technology guide that I went over a couple of minutes ago, and then the link to the recording, so around like noon tomorrow. And then the strategies for success information will be forthcoming tomorrow as well. And yeah, any questions that come up, please don't hesitate to reach out. If you find that you're having difficulty next week, once you got access to your class and the class has started and you are, you know, kind of going through Blackboard, definitely reach out in that case as well, because you can come in to the writing studio and I can sit down with you and, you know, we can resolve whatever issue you're having. We can go through like a brief run through if needed, where it's in person, which is better for some people. So yeah, so if next week happens and you're feeling lost, don't panic, just, you know, reach out, come to campus, call me, whatever, you know, you want to do, and we'll get you to where you need to be. So that's it, unless anyone has any questions in the next like 5 seconds. Okay, thanks so much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great evening.
You too.